and the omnipotent air is his breath. The passing ages are his movement, and his activities are the reaction of the three moods of material nature, purported by his divine grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The personality of Godhead is not a dead stone, nor he is inactive and is poorly taught by some schools. He moves with the progress of time, and therefore he knows all about the past, present, and future. Although with his present activity, there is nothing unknown to him. The conditioned souls are driven by the reaction of the moods of material nature, which are activities of the Lord. Stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.12, the moods of the nature act under its directions only, and as such, no natural function are blind or automatic. The power behind the activities is the supervision of the Lord, and thus the Lord is never inactive. It's wrongly conceived. The Vedas say that the Supreme Lord has nothing to do with the personally, as is always the case with the superior, but everything is done by his direction. As stated, not a blade of grass moves without his sanction, and the Brahma Samhita 5.48 is said that all the universe and the heads of them, the Brahmas, exist only the duration of his breathing period. The same is confirmed here. The air on which the universe and the planet within the universe exist is nothing but a bit of the breath of unchallengeable Virat Purusha. So even by studying the rivers, trees, air, and passing ages, one can conceive the personality of Godhead without being misled by the formless conception of the Lord. The Bhagavad Gita 12.5, it is stated that those who are much inclined to the formless conception of the Supreme Truth are more troubled than those who are intelligently conceived of the personal form. Prabhupada ki jai. So रघुपति प्रभु हरे कृष्णा नहीं आए, उन्होंने मैसेज किया है मुझे कि वो ऑनलाइन रहेंगे.
It's 1:30 AM at UK, very early.
लेकिन उन्होंने क्लास के लिए हाँ बोला था ना. वो मुझे बीच में भी कहे थे कि प्रभु जी आपका प्रोग्राम चल रहा है, कैसे हो रहा है, तो मुझे कहा था कि क्लास के लिए आने के लिए. So he just dropped me a message that he will be late, but we can wait, no problem.
प्रभु जी हिंदी में पढ़ लेते हैं ना.
हाँ हिंदी में हाँ पढ़ लीजिए. हाँ that's good idea. Yes, हिंदी में कौन पढ़ेगा?
I can share screen. Anyone can read or I can also read.
Hare Krishna. Can I read?
Yes, Vinitra Mataji, yes.
Nadyo asnadyo tanu ruhani mahiruha vishwatano nripendraha anantaviryaha shravistam matrishravah gativaryaha karma gun pravaha. नद्या शब्दार्थ नद्या नदियां अस्य उनकी नाट्य नाड़ियां नसें अथ तत्पश्चात तनु रूहानी शरीर के बाल मही रूहा पेड़ पौधे विश्व तनहो विश्व रूप का नृप इंद्र हे राजा अनंत वीर्यः सर्वशक्तिमान की श्रवसितम श्वसन क्रिया मात्र रिश्वा वायु गति व्यतीत होते युग कर्म गुण प्रवाह प्रकृति के गुणों की प्रतिक्रियाएं. अनुवाद. हे राजन, नदियां उस विराट शरीर की नसें हैं, वृक्ष उनके रोम हैं और सर्वशक्तिमान वायु उनकी श्वास है. व्यतीत होते हुए युग उनकी गति तथा प्रकृति के तीनों गुणों की प्रतिक्रियाएं ही उनके कार्यकलाप हैं. तात्पर्य. श्रील प्रभुपाद जी द्वारा श्री भगवान ना तो जड़ पत्थर हैं, ना ही वे निष्क्रिय हैं जैसा कि कुछ विचारधारा वाले लोग सोचते हैं. वे समय के साथ गतिशील होते हैं, अतएव वे अपने वर्तमान कार्यकलापों के साथ साथ भूत तथा भविष्य के विषय में भी सब कुछ जानते हैं. उनसे कुछ भी अज्ञात नहीं रहता है. बद्ध जीव भौतिक प्रकृति के गुणों की प्रतिक्रियाओं द्वारा प्रेरित होते हैं और ये ही श्री भगवान के कार्यकलाप हैं. जैसा कि श्रीमद् भगवत गीता 7.12 में कहा गया है कि प्रकृति के गुण उन्हीं के निर्देशन में कार्य करते हैं। अतएव कोई भी प्राकृतिक कार्य ना तो निरुद्देश्य होता है और ना ही स्वचालित। सारे कार्यकलापों के पीछे श्री भगवान की अध्यक्षता की शक्ति कार्य करती है। इसी तरह श्री भगवान कभी निष्क्रिय नहीं होते, जैसा कि भ्रमवश अनुचित सोचा जाता है। वेदों का कथन है कि परमेश्वर को स्वयं कुछ नहीं करना होता, जैसा कि श्रेष्ठ जनों के किस्से में होता है, लेकिन सृष्टि के सारे कार्य उन्हीं की अध्यक्षता में संपन्न होते हैं। जैसे कहा जाता है कि उनकी स्वीकृति के बिना एक पत्ता भी नहीं हिल सकता। ब्रह्म संहिता 5.48 में कहा गया है कि सारे ब्रह्मांड तथा इनके अधीश्वर ब्रह्माओं उनके श्वास लेने की अवधि तक ही अस्तित्व में रहते हैं। यहाँ पर इसी की पुष्टि की गई है। ब्रह्मांडों के भीतर जिस वायु में सारे ब्रह्मांड तथा ग्रह स्थिति है, वह अजित विराट पुरुष की श्वास का अंश मात्र है। अतएव मनुष्य नदियों, वृक्षों, वायु तथा बीतने वाले युगों के अध्ययन द्वारा ही श्री भगवान की निर्विशेष धारणा से दिग्भ्रमित न होकर श्री भगवान की न्याय संगत धारणा बना सकता है। श्रीमद् भगवत गीता 12.5 में कहा गया है कि जो परम सत्य के निर्विशेष विचार के प्रति आकृष्ट है, वह श्री भगवान के सगुण स्वरूप के उपासकों की अपेक्षा अधिक कष्ट उठाते हैं। हरे कृष्णा। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा। धन्यवाद श्री माता जी। तो हम वेट करते हैं प्रभु जी का।
We can have a bhajan, Prabhuji. Any devotee can.
Yeah, I will do the kirtan. Prabhuji has wrote to start the kirtan, so let's do it. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, Jagudguru Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So I request all the devotees, please unmute your mic and chant a big Hare Krishna Mahamantra for Raghupati Prabhu, and welcome Prabhuji in our congregation with all the love and devotion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
So we can see Vanchakalpatrubhyas Kripa Sindhu Chukti Dhanapa. So welcome Raghupati Prabhu in our Everyday with Bhagavad Gita e-temple program, and I request you to start the class. So we have already done reading of Sanskrit purport and translation and the synonyms as well in English and Hindi. So as per your wish, you can start the class. So there will be a 35 minutes of lecture and at last 10 minutes of question answer. Hare Krishna. Mike, over to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So it's again our pleasure to be with you today. And I'm really sorry for the slight delay that we had. It's 2 o'clock in the morning in the UK. But it's always a joy to come to your congregation. So I'm just going to get the words. Can you get the words and translation on the screen? Okay. Words and yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tuja Mudire. Nadvasya Nadvas Atha Tanuruhani Mahiruha Vishyat Tanor Nupendra Anantivirya Swastitam Matirishwa Gatiruvaya Karma Gunapravaha. King, rivers are the veins of the gigantic body, the trees are the hairs of his body, and the omnipotent air is his breath. Passing ages are his movements, and his activities are the reactions of the three modes of material nature. Okay, so you have already read the purport, and
Yes, Prabhu. We have done with the purport reading in English and Hindi both.
okay, that's good. So we can just start from here. Umagyantimrandhasya Gyananjan Shalakya Chakshunminthamena Tashmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthaptamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Dantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpat Kamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagarabhnathanvitam Tam Sajivam Advaitam Savadhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitancha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanti Radha Kanti Namastate Ganchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalptaru Bhaisha Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasari Guru Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pungam langhiti girim Yat kripatam mande Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishvara. In this beautiful verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we are hearing the universal form by Srila Shukadeva Goswami described to Maharaj Parikshit. The usual question is, why is Maharaj Parikshit hearing about the universal form when he is a Vaishnava born by birth and closely connected to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through family relationships as well as through devotion. All his granduncles, grandfathers, they were associates of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. So what is the point of hearing about the universal form when he can directly hear Krishna's pastimes? So here we have to see that Maharaj Parikshit is being prepared by Srila Shukadeva Goswami to realize Krishna completely. Krishna's complete realization is in three features. Vadanti tattvavidastatvam yajjnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmiti bhagavaniti shabdati. Learned transcendentalists, they know the Supreme Personality of Godhead in three features. So first one is Brahman, second is Paramatma, and third one is Bhagavan. So what we are hearing here is the Brahman, the realization of the Supreme Lord, or the universal form of the Lord, which is very similar to the Brahman realization, impersonal. For the personalist, it is very difficult to understand the personality of Godhead. For the impersonalist, it's difficult to understand the personality of Godhead. Therefore, the personality of Godhead is described in impersonal language. So, universal form is the personal description of the impersonal Brahman. Personal description of impersonal Brahman. So the universe is spread 3 planetary systems and 14 lokas from top to bottom. There are 14 lokas that comprise of the universe. And the universe is in the form of an egg. So in this gigantic universe, how do we see the personality of Godhead? So Srila Shukadeva Goswami is describing the personality of Godhead through the gigantic body of the universe. So whenever we see the universal phenomena, we will see the personality of Godhead, His form. That's why it's called the universal form. When we compare this with the universal form that Arjuna saw in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this form is different, although this is also universal form, gigantic body of the Lord. But the universal form Arjuna saw was within the personality of Godhead. So, if we understand that impersonal Brahman or the universal form of the Lord is situated within the personality of Godhead, then this becomes easier to understand. Therefore, you'll find the description here of the rivers or the hairs of the body. So rivers are considered to be the hairs of the body. So whenever we see rivers, we can think of hairs of the universal body of the Lord. Omnipotent air is His breath. Whenever we breathe, inhale or exhale the air, which is considered life air, we can think of the breath of the Lord. Whenever we see the time passing of the time, passing of the ages, are the movements of that universal form, body of the Lord. And 3 modes of material nature have been considered to be His reactions, are the reactions of the 3 modes of nature, are considered to be His activities. So this way, we can understand that within the universal form lies the personality of the Supreme Lord. And this is a method to realize Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just by looking at the universal creation. In Bhagavad Gita, starting from chapter 7 and up to chapter 11, we also find some sort of impersonal description of the energies of the Lord. Just like in the 7th chapter, Krishna says, Devi is a gunamai, mama maya duratya, mameva prapadyante, mayamitam tarante. So Krishna is describing his Maya Prakriti, Mahamaya, which is instrumental in creating, maintaining, and destroying this universe, as his Gunamayi Prakriti. Devi is a Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duratya. So Gunamayi. Gunamayi is consisting of 3 modes of material nature as to Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. So those gunas of Prakriti are considered to be the reactions or the activities of the Lord, as the reactions of the 3 modes of material nature are considered to be the activities. And when we look at the material nature, which is inactive until the Supreme Lord glances over her. Mayadhyakshana Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. So Krishna is saying that under my supervision, material nature creates animate and inanimate objects. So material nature becomes activated only by the glance of Krishna. So unless Krishna glances over material nature, she will remain inactive. As it happens, when the universal creation is dissolved in various ages, various times, so there is dissolution, a partial dissolution at the one day of Brahma. Every day of Brahma, there is partial dissolution of the Prakriti, of the universe. Then there is Mahapralaya. So there is Pralaya, partial dissolution at the end of the day of Brahma. And then there is universal or Mahapralaya, dissolution at the end of life of Brahma. So end of day of Brahma is 1000 Chaturyugas. Sahasrayug Paryantam Aharyat Brahmano Vidu. 1000 yugas consist of one day of Brahma. Chaturyugas, 1000 Chaturyugas. So if you combine Kali Yuga, which is 4,32,000 years, Dwapar Yuga, which is 8,64,000 years, and then Treta Yuga, which is 3 times Kali Yuga, and Satya Yuga, which is 4 times Kali Yuga. If you combine 4 yugas, that makes 1 Chatur Yuga. So 1000 such Chatur Yugas is 1 day of Lord Brahma. And at the end of the day of Lord Brahma, there is universal dissolution. There is partial dissolution of the universe. So some of the lokas, planets, are dissolved or destroyed. But at the end of the life of Brahma, there is universal dissolution of Mahapralaya. At that time, the entire creation is suspended and it enters into the body of Mahavishnu. So coming back to the point, the 3 modes of material nature are his activities. So you can see that the universe becomes active when the Supreme Lord glances over Mahamaya, Prakriti, And when the new creation begins, this is how it begins. Mahavishnu glances over Mahamaya. And simply by glancing over, he impregnates her with all the living entities that remain latent within the body of Mahavishnu. So through his eyes, he impregnates Mahamaya. The Supreme Lord does not associate with Maya. He only glances over her, and then Maya becomes impregnated. Just like in the human creation or the creation within this material world, a female is activated or impregnated with the touch of a male. So the Lord does not touch Mahamaya. He simply glances over her. Mayadhikshana. This is what Mayadhikshana Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam indicates. Maya by me, Akshana, simply glancing over. Prakriti, the Maya Prakriti, Mahamaya, material nature, Suyate creates Sacharacharam, animates and inanimate objects. So that's why Maharaj Parikshit is being informed by Srila Sukadeva Goswami that even if the universal form is conceived by the beginning spiritualist or the beginners, still we can perceive the personality of Godhead within the universal creation by this imaginary universal form. Universal form is imaginary. Even the form that was manifested before Arjuna, that was also a temporary. So universal form is temporary, and particularly the universal form which is being described here is imaginary. Because you have to imagine that the rivers are the wings of the gigantic body of the Lord. Trees are the hairs of his body. So through the creation, you are imagining the body of the Supreme Lord. Now we come to, we were talking about Mahamayas. Now we'll come to next description. Before that, in Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma is saying, Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhan Shakti Rekha Chayo Yasya Bhavanani Vibhrati Durga Ichhan Rupamapi Yasya Chacheshtate Sa Govindamadi Purusha Tamaham Bhajami. Srishti, the creation, Sthiti, maintenance, and Srishti Sthiti Pralaya. Pralaya is dissolution. So these three activities, these three activities, as we said, are enacted by Mahamaya. So Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhan Shakti Rekha Chayam Yasya Bhavanani Vibhrati Durga. Mahamaya, Durga Devi, she enacts these three accomplishments in the universal creation on behalf of the personality of Godhead. So Mahamaya is considered to be a shadow. But this shadow is so powerful that she creates, maintains, and annihilates the creation. Now somebody may say that this seems to be a little confusing. Because so far we have heard that Lord Brahma creates, Lord Vishnu maintains, and Lord Shiva destroys the universe when the time comes. So how is it that Lord Brahma is saying that Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, creation, maintenance, and destruction are carried out by Mahamaya. Lord Brahma is saying, Chayo yas bhunani vivarti durga. Ichhanurupam api yasacha cheshtate sa govindam adi purusham tamham bhajami. So according to the desire of the Lord, Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, Vishnu, Krishna, Mahamaya carries out these three different kind of tasks. So Lord Brahma remains the creator, not the original creator, but the secondary creator. Lord Vishnu is the maintainer, but he is also maintaining on behalf of the personality of Godhead, although he himself is the personality of Godhead. Then Lord Shiva destroys this universe on behalf of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, Vishnu, according to his desires. And Mahamaya becomes an instrument to carry out these tasks. So Ashtabhuji Durga is very powerful energy of the Lord. And she carries out these three tasks of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Although there are three principal deities that remain in charge on behalf of the Lord. In a song, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains this intricate subject matter very beautifully in one song. So I'm just going to sing a couple of lines for the clarity of the subject matter and discussion. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is singing, Tumi Sarveswareshwara Brajendra Kumar Tumhari Chhaye Vishwe Shrajana Sangha Tumi Sarveshwara Brajendra Kumar Tumhari Chhaye Vishwe Shrajana Sangha Tavo Ichha Mate Brahma Karina Srajana Tavo Ichha Mate Vishnu Karina Palana Tavo Ichha Mate Shiva Karina Sangha Tavo Ichha Mate Maya Shrajikara Tumi Sarve Shwareshwara Brajendra Kumar Tumhari Chhaye Vishwe Shrajana Sangha. This simple song describes this philosophical intricate matter very nicely. It says, Tumi Sarveswareshwara Brajendra Kumar. My dear Lord, Brajendrananda, the son of Nanda Maharaj, Tumi Sarveswareshwara. This is such a beautiful word that you are the Lord of Lords. In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is also calling Krishna as Deva Deva Jagat. So my dear Lord, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Tumi Sarveswareshwara. You are the Lord of Lords. Tumhari Chhaya Vishwe Srajana Sangha. So by your desire, The universe is being created, universe is being destroyed. Tumi Sarveswariswara Brajendra Kumar, Tumhare Ichha Vishya Srijana Sangha. By your desire, Tumhare Ichha Mate, Brahma Karena Srijana. So by your desire, Brahma creates, and according to your desire, Lord Vishnu maintains. Then the third verse is Tavicha Mate Shiva Karena Sanghar, Tavicha Mate Maya Sraji Karagar. So according to your will, Lord Shiva destroys, and according to your will, Maya constructs the prison house of this world. Thank you, Shamchandra Prabhu. You made it easier for everyone to see this song, and we could also read the translation. So this verse is very beautifully describing the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the universe according to the desire of the Lord. By Krishna's desire, Brajendranandan's Krishna's desire, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, the three principal deities are creating, maintaining, and destroying. So here we see the description of Maya. Tumhare Ichha, Maya Sraji Karagar. This material universe is known as Karagar, prison house, Durga. And because Mahamaya is the predominating deity of this Durga fort, she is known as Durga. She is the predominating deity known as Durga, in charge of this Durga or fort. So we are in the universe of Mahamaya. This is called Daivi Dham. Golok Namni Nijadhamni Talechatasya Devi Mahesh Hari Dham Shrutesh Tete Prabhavani Chavita Shena Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajan. So underneath Golok Vrindavan, there are universes, or there are planetary systems. So first one is Haridham, Vaikuntha, then Mahesh Dham, Shivalok, then Devi Dham. And Devi Dham is the universe we live in. So we are the residents of Devi Dham, Mahamaya. This is Mahamaya's abode, Devi Dham. And she is the predominating deity in charge of this universe known as Durga. So Mahamaya is creating, maintaining, and destroying on behalf of the Supreme Lord. Despite on behalf of the Supreme Lord, while the universal deities or predominating deities are there in charge of each of these tasks. So now we have a few minutes left, and we will look at the remaining part of the shloka, which says the rivers are the wings of the gigantic body. So earlier on I mentioned that starting from 7th chapter up to chapter 11, Krishna is also using these kind of description. Just like he says, Rasuham apsi kaunteya prabhashmi sasishuryo. So Rasuham apsi kaunteya, Krishna says, I am the taste of the water. So here we see the description that rivers are the wings of the gigantic body of the Lord. So within the veins, or within the rivers, there is a reservoir of water. So just like a human body is sustained through the veins, there are hundreds of thousands of veins within our body. So the blood is flowing through these veins. And if there is a stoppage, then we get heart attack. So the rivers are flowing in the gigantic body of the Lord, giving us the life blood, which is water. we drink that water. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Rasoham Upsukhamte. Oh, Arjuna, I am the taste of water. So Prabhupada explains that anyone who thinks while drinking water that the taste of the water is Krishna becomes a great devotee. Similarly, when we see the rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, they are the personification of transcendental deities. But even the normal rivers you see, which are not pious rivers like we have in Bharatvarsh, 7 rivers, Gangecha, Jamunecha, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmade Sindhu Kaveri, Jalesman Sannidhim Kuru. There are 7 rivers, holy rivers in India. But other parts of the world, you also find rivers, like in Russia, you find Volga. In the UK, surrounding the city of London, this great city of London, is the river called Thames. But when you see the rivers in other parts of the world, none of them are considered to be the pious rivers like Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati. Nevertheless, they are rivers, and the rivers are pure. They are worshipable in the sense that they carry the life-giving water. So people in other religions might think that we worship too many gods. We worship rivers, trees, mountains. But actually speaking, that this gives us the understanding of how the Supreme Lord is manifest in the form of his universal body. So rivers are the veins in Krishna's body, or the Supreme Lord's body. And the hair, trees are the hairs of his body. So trees give us the fruits, shelter. So they are hairs of Krishna's body, the universal body. And then omnipotent air is his breath. So scriptures say that because the Lord is seeing through the sun and moon, so we are able to see. Because the Lord is breathing through the movements of the air, so we are able to breathe. In other words, our life depends on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like in the night, we cannot see. It's dark. In the dark night, we cannot see. But as soon as the sun rises in the east, then we see. We are able to see. So our seeing capability, our perceiving capability depends on the seeing of the Lord. Because Krishna is seeing through sun and moon, we are able to see. As soon as the sun rises, then the capacity of our eyes to see the objects becomes manifest. In the night, when the sun sets, there's no sun, no moon, then our capability to see also diminishes. So this simply proves the point that our lives are dependent on the mercy of the Lord. So just to summarize, here we are hearing the universal description, universal form being described by Srila Sukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. But even within this description, we see the personality of Godhead. So ultimately, this is pointing out that Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person, not impersonal. He is a person. So he is a person. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kama. He is Nitya, eternal personality, amongst all the Nityas, like living beings, living entities like us. Chetanas Chetananam. He is conscious amongst all conscious beings. Eko bahunam yog vidadhati kaman. And that one Supreme Personality of Godhead is distinct from other living entities because this singular person, Eko, is maintaining the plural entities, all the living entities in this universe and millions of other universes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Raghupati Prabhu, for the wonderful session. So I request any devotee would like to ask question, and if you have any comments, anything, you can write in the chat box or you can ask directly to Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, my question is that as a devotee, how we should see the Virat Roop, because we cannot develop any love or the devotion toward the Virat Roop. So why Arjuna asked to Krishna to show me the Virat Roop?
This is a very nice question. So Arjuna asked Krishna to show the Virat Roop. This was just to ensure that in future nobody should claim that they are Supreme Personality of Godhead unless they could show a Virat Roop like Krishna shows Arjuna. So this was one of the reasons why Arjuna wanted to see the Virat Purush, Virat Roop, with Krishna to establish the Supreme Personality of Godhead is powerful, and he can display this magical, magnificent Virat Roop just by sitting on the chariot. Those who are claiming to be God or incarnation of God, we should challenge them to show their Virat Roop, and they can't because they are not gods. Prabhupada says that anyone who claims to be God is but a dog. So God is G-O-D. And if you reverse it, is D-O-G, dog. So anyone who claims to be Bhagwan, he becomes Shwan, dog. Because only Bhagwan can be Bhagwan. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Bhagwan. He doesn't have to become Bhagwan through a yoga process. So that was the reason why Arjuna asked Krishna this question. Another reason was, Arjuna says that Katham Vidyamaham Krishna. My dear Lord, just explain to me, how can I see you in the creation always? So then from chapter 7 onwards, Krishna is describing. So he is saying that amongst the rivers I am Ganga, Sarsamasmi Sagara, amongst the ocean, amongst the body of waters I am the ocean. And like that, Rasum Apsikonte, I am the taste of water. So we find this description. This is just to enable a devotee like Arjuna to see Krishna everywhere. So whenever we see the sun and the moon, we can think that they are eyes of the Lord. Sun and moon are considered to be the eyes of the Lord. So Brahman realization is the preliminary realization of the Lord. Then comes the realization of Paramatma, Bhagwan, and Paramatma situated in everyone's heart. And then Bhagwan. Ultimate realization is Bhagwan. So these are some of the main reasons why Arjuna is asking Krishna to display his universal form. But once Krishna displayed the universal form, Arjuna became very fearful. And then he's praising towards the end of 11th chapter and asking Krishna, please resume your four-arm form and two-arm form. See, ultimately, then Krishna assumed his four-arm form first, than to one's form. Devotees are not really so interested in the universal form, but they read this description and they use the description to see Krishna everywhere. But we don't worship the universal form as the impersonalists do. This is for impersonalists to have an understanding that there is a personality of Godhead. The devotees are already situated in the personal realization, Bhagavan realization of Krishna. Does it answer your question, Shamanand?
Thank you so much.
Ramachandra
Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you for answering. Thank you. So, any devotee have any question, or we will end the session? Yes. I'm very grateful to Prabhuji. It's late night in 1 a.m. in the UK. So devotees always see their inconvenience to give service to the devotees. And I'm very grateful to Prabhuji that you are giving us opportunity to associate with you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, bro, for this opportunity. Devotees are very quiet today. Nobody is asking anything. So I think looks like
end the session by paying our obeisances to all the Vaishnava and close session. Vancha
Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Anand Koti Vaishnav ki jai, Sri Radha Kunj Bihari Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari
Hari Hari Bol. Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thanks for your time and class.